Hi everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of Between the Sheets with Pamela. If I look like crap, it's because I've had a weekend of wine, whiskey and books with the lovely Mrs. Brink. Yes, we had the Soweto Literary Festival last weekend, but before I talk about that, a little report back from last week. I went to the Dove Beauty at Every Age high tea at Shepstone Gardens in Houghton. Stunning venue, yummy food. We did some very interesting exercises with Dr. Kalinda Linda. I know, she said herself she doesn't know what she was thinking marrying a man called Linda. We met the fabulous Dove Beauty ambassadors, and I got to decorate a cupcake with blue icing and sprinkles. It wasn't entirely successful. I did name it the Blue Bowel Movement, and in fact Tanya Kowarski of, and I hope I pronounced your name correctly, of Rattlin' Mum, very successful blog, she said that it looked like unicorn poo, which I really liked. So yeah, I don't think anybody's going to be calling on me to bake anything anytime soon. So thank you to the wonderful Laurie Milner and for Dove for inviting me. That was a lot of fun. And in case you didn't notice, I just want to mention that, the wonderful writer Zegs Mda actually read my book, Misconception, and he liked it, and he wrote about it on Twitter. I only retweeted his messages about 400 times. Very tempted to maybe RT them again this week.
Mom, we all know Zexenza liked your book. Stop RTing and putting it on the family WhatsApp group, for heaven's sake.
Now, we have a couple of guests on the show this week. I got to interview the fabulous Mrs. Brink between my sheets, and the lovely Paige Nick also did send me a little insert of what she's been up to. So, enjoy. Right, Mrs. Brink. So I have got Karina Brink here with me this morning, and she's going to teach me how to pronounce her name.
Karina Brink.
No, come on. Otherwise, I'm going to do Andre who.
You want to have the little rat story. No, it's very simple. My maiden last name that I use for writing is Sturek.
Sturek.
Yeah.
Sturek.
And it means little rat.
Karina, my little rat. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So why we've got Mrs. Brink here this morning is because we want to chat to her about her upcoming projects, which are very exciting. So Karina, tell us something about that.
Well, it's all really, really exciting. I am so amazed that all these things are happening. I've just finished a month ago the manuscript of a memoir that is called The Fifth Mrs. Brink.
Oh my God, wait, it's so exciting.
And I'm telling in it the story of the amazing time that I had with Andre. And it's the story, our love story, and the story of our relationship, and and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing this book happen, and to being able to honor what we had in words and literature.
I cannot wait for that book. I think it's going to be amazing. And tell us about your other projects.
At this stage, and it's going to be a long road ahead, I'm assisting Leon de Kock in the writing of his biography of Andre, which I think is also going to be exquisite. We chat about the book quite a lot, and everything that he tells me makes me think, oh, I really want to read this, I want to read this. And one other thing that he is doing, he's going through the archive and all the material that Andre collected about his work throughout his life, and he is also reading Andre's diaries, and the stories that he tells from the diaries are so beautiful that we are also contemplating publishing the diaries. Probably not all of them, because it would be volumes and volumes, but a selected version.
Sort of excerpts.
Yes, and there are already discussions about this, and Leon and a very dear friend of mine, Erika Villion, who is transcribing the diaries, are both saying that if you think that Flame in the Snow was exquisite. The diaries are 10 times better.
Fantastic.
And the diaries tell the story that Flame in the Snow doesn't.
I know, because that's what I felt. I wanted to know more. I wanted to know like backstory and all sorts of stuff.
It's all there. It's all in the diaries. So that particular book one day, and it will be a few years ahead, is going to be one of the most exquisite books ever.
Oh, I can't wait. And anything on the fiction front?
Yes, very much so. I want to complete another novel by the end of this year.
Wow.
And I'm very excited about it. Yes, and the planning is going well, and I have a title, I have characters, I know how to structure it, and I'm very pleased that it's happening.
Okay, so thank you, Mrs. Brink. I'm still not going to actually use that surname. Thank you for joining us. And yes, lots of exciting stuff to look forward to.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure.
Pamela, Power, thank you for inviting me to be on your vlogcast. How many times do you redo yours? I'm on like take 4 already. Not as easy as it sounds. Anyway, I think you wanted me to chat about what I'm reading right now and what's going on in my life. The UK version of this book relaunched. It launched for the first time by HarperCollins in April this year. So, long story short, when HarperCollins first bought Dutch Courage, they didn't like the title very much and decided to change it to Like a Virgin, which I thought was a great title. In June, I got an email from them to say how terrible sales were. Sales were just awful and abysmal and shocking, and I was kind of waiting for the Dear John part of the letter. But in a bizarre twist, I love a story with a twist, they agreed to relaunch it, rebrand it, new cover, new title, The Wrong Knickers for a Wednesday. And I kind of hope sales are better, because I think they'll give me a second chance, but I don't think they'll give me a third shot. That's kind of how one book gets 3 covers and 3 titles. Who knew that was a thing? In terms of what I'm reading, I went to the launch of South the other night at the Book Lounge, which is by Frank Owen, which is a writing duo, Diane Auerbach and Alex Latimer. I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's dirty and dark and disgusting. My favorite line from the launch, somebody asked if the book was funny, and Alex Latimer said, funny like when you open your fridge and there's a funny smell. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's apocalyptic. It's an apocalyptic Western. And I'm also balancing that out with Die Laughing, which is a new short story collection, and it's really funny. I've only read a couple of stories so far, and I'm really enjoying it. I think these guys do a great job. And then I saw on the Twitter vine that Zexamda was raving about this book by an author named Pamela Power, and he should be raving about it. Fantastic book. I loved it so much. I was in Joburg and I lost my copy, and I went and I bought another one. So thanks for having me in my pajamas, in my bed with my tea, looking a bit shit. Hey, what you gonna do?
Hope you enjoyed those. And now I just want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that stood out for me at the Soweto Lit Fest. Firstly, a big thank you to Daryl Earl David for pulling it off, the festival, at such short notice. Thank you, Daryl. Plus, the Soweto Theatre is just absolutely gorgeous. We started off the morning with Mrs. Brink doing a tribute to her late husband, Andre Brink, and that was just incredible. The bravery of that woman never fails to astound me. Then we had an empty slot, so Karina and I dragged Louis Vid onto the stage and we interviewed him. And shame, bit of a shock for him, but he was fantastic, and I think everybody actually really enjoyed it. Bontle Sena then interviewed me about Misconception, and she was as brilliant as ever. I can't rave enough about that girl. And then it was incredibly lovely to see Bab Mandla Langa again. The very first literary panel I ever did was with Bab Mandla and Craig Higginson. We were interviewed by Jenny Chris Williams. I have to say I probably sounded like a complete idiot, but everyone was very kind to me, especially Bab Mandla. So I'm always grateful to him for that. And yes, I recommend his book, The Texture of Shadows, and if you ever get the chance to hear him speak, you should go and listen to him. Who else? Oh, I got to meet the wonderful Mpho Shukudu, who wrote Eating, I don't know how we say that, with Anna Trapido, who's also fabulous. I think that looks like a fantastic book. Also recommend it. Plus, Mrs. Brink and I got to hang out with the very sassy and gorgeous Machale Mashigo, who wrote The Yearning, of course. So we spent a lot of time just sitting on the floor in the lobby, drinking Irish whiskey with Machale and all killing ourselves laughing. She's just so fabulous. Really one of my favorite moments of the festival. But I have to say that the speaker who stood out the most for me was Griselda Grootboom. She wrote this book, Exit. I hope I don't blab when I speak about it, because Mrs. Brink and I basically wept through her entire presentation. It was just incredibly moving. Griselda lived on the streets. She was forced into sex work. She took drugs. She sold drugs. She has suffered the most terrible, terrible things. And yet there she stood, gorgeous, articulate, incredibly brave, telling us about her life story. I was just absolutely stunned by her. She got a standing ovation at the end of her presentation. I think she was amazed. But I have to say it was just completely deserved, because she is quite an amazing person. So I think my message to you today, just to end off, is that you may feel broken by life. You may have suffered horrific emotional and physical abuse. You can get out of it. You can heal. Griselda is living proof of that. So please, everyone, read this book, Exit, by Griselda Grootboom. Yeah. And just read SA. Until next week. Bye.
See beneath your perfect. Take it off now, boy. Take it off now, boy. I wanna see inside. Would you let me see beneath your beautiful tonight? Tonight, no.